I have been putting this off for some time because rangers stress me out, but I have decided to do a full ranger build using third-party goodies because they make it feel a lot better, in my opinion. You will watch me be defeated as I talk about the level 20 capstone feature when we get there, but I would like you to join me as we put together a surprisingly powerful ranger build. Let's talk about the stuff we need to talk about. That's how videos work. Let's kick off with the background. I've taken farmer because tough is good, because we want to be getting hit because of the build that we're playing. We're not playing a melee character though. We are playing a ranged character. It's complicated. We'll get to help facilitate this. We are taking the Jorgenthal, the half-orc from exploring Eberron, and for our versatile feat, I've taken the Zentrim Ruffian feat. This gives us the chance to give everyone an advantage on an initiative roll if we have heroic inspiration, along with the ability to re-roll opportunity attack damage and use the higher of the two, or the lower of the two, if you want to. Our starting stats to begin with are 15, 17, 14, 8, 12 and 8. 12 is our wisdom there. You will note that that is quite low, and that is because we are not looking to cast many spells with this build. We are a very physical ranger for plenty of very good reasons. At level 1, we get a bunch of stuff as a ranger. We get Favored Enemy, which gives us our free Hunter's Mark, which is always handy. We get some spell casting, although I do find the first level spells a little underwhelming. Hail of Thorns is cool. Assisted Aim is cool. Absorb Element is cool. Assisted Aim gives you double range on your weapons, as well as a +1 to hit, and it can affect up to 3 weapons as well. So if you've got a ranged party, it can be very, very powerful. We will be using the longbow to begin with, as you can see. And we'll be switching over to the composite longbow later, but we need a specific fighting style to make that happen. Our damage at this point is 1d8 plus 1d6 plus 3, because 3 is our dex, which is 11 damage, which is honestly not terrible. So good work, Rangers. At level 2, we get Deft Explorer, which gives us a bunch of ribbon stuff, which is never a bad thing. We get a fighting style, which is very important, and we're going to go for the advanced weapon proficiency, which allows us to use a composite longbow. The reason we're using this is because it has the strong draw proficiency, and we can actually change our weapon masteries on a long rest as a ranger, so we're going to swap one of those over to allow us to use the strong draw weapon mastery. This allows us to add our strength and our dex to weapons with that property, which means that we get a +5 to our damage now instead, which means that our damage jumps up to 14 from 12 because it was +3 and now it's +5. Never a bad thing. Level 3, we get our subclass, and this time around we are going for the corruption, the corrupted ranger from Obojima, because it spoke to me on a guttural, instinctual level for a few reasons. This is a subclass all about getting hit, which is a lot of fun, and which is why we took tough. It gives us a couple of features at level 3. Second manifestation I'm going to cover first because it basically lets you exchange a dice roll for a 10 plus your ranger level when you do a strength or dex check, which can be handy, but is not that helpful, generally speaking, at least not in combat. More importantly, it gives us first manifestation, which gives us these curse marks whenever we... curse markers, sorry, whenever we're hit, and if we're hit with a crit, we get 2. We have to expend these curse markers whenever we hit a creature and we have them, and they give an extra 1d4 of damage per curse marker. While at level 3, we only have access to 2 of these. It goes up as your cantrips do, so we get 3 at level 5, 4 at level 11, and 5 at level 17. These don't seem like much, but they can add up pretty quickly to a sizable amount of damage. And in fact, even at this level, it is an extra 5 damage on top of what we were already doing, which means that we are now doing 18 damage, which is a fairly respectable amount. We can also do that from range, remember. We don't have to be close just yet, because you can also use your bonus action to automatically gain the highest amount of curse markers you can have. Assuming that your hunter's marking on turn 1, which you should be doing, you'll then be maxing out your curse markers from that point onwards to ensure that you're doing the most amount of damage, and it's a good use for your bonus action as well. Level 4, we get our first ASI or feat. I'm taking Sharpshooter because it lets us push our dex up to 18, which means that our damage now has a +6 modifier instead of a +5 modifier, which pushes our damage to a very respectable 19. That's not the biggest boost, but it also means that our ranged attack ignores most forms of cover, and importantly for us, being within 5 feet of an enemy doesn't impose disadvantage on your attack rolls with ranged weapons. This allows us to get in close to enemies and fire at close range, while ensuring they can hit us so that we can get curse markers passively, which is a good damage boost. Level 5 brings us both extra attack and another curse marker. It also gives us level 2 spells. In terms of spells here, I think Aid is a fantastic option as it lets us boost our own HP total as well as a few other people. Magic Weapon is also tempting if you can somehow get that off just before combat, as it gives us a +1 to our chance to hit and a +1 to our damage as well, but I'm not going to be doing the calculations with that in mind, mostly because at that point we're relying on 3 bonus actions, and I want to keep the assumptions lower-ish, as much as I can anyway. The damage from the extra attack and the extra 1d4 on one of our attacks as well means that we are up to 35.5 at this point, which is very good. Level 6 gives us roving, which improves our speed as long as we're not wearing heavy armor. It also gives us a climb and swim speed. It's not especially relevant, but it's handy to have. Damage-wise, it does nothing. Level 17, we get third manifestation, which lets us expend one of our curse markers to actually add to the attack roll, not just the damage roll. This is handy if you are concerned that you're not going to hit someone. You can also take a reaction to reduce damage taken as well, which could be amazing, but does mean that you can't make opportunity attacks, which won't be relevant for a few more levels, but will eventually be relevant. Level 8 is our next buff in damage. We're going to take Great Weapon Master. This boosts our strength to 16, which means we get another +1 from that. And because the composite longbow is a heavy weapon, that's from Grim Hollow, by the way, I meant to say. And because that is a heavy weapon, it also allows us to add our proficiency bonus to each strike, which means that our flat damage bonus here jumps up from 6 to 10 because our proficiency bonus is 3 at this point, which is going to feel amazing every single time. You're going to be doing 43.5 points of damage average at this point. Level 9 gives us third level spells. Conjure Barrage is a classic. Revivify is also a very, very good choice. Always recommend having some healing on hand when you can. It gives you expertise into skills. Doesn't do anything for our damage on that front, but our proficiency bonus does go up to 4, which means we're doing another 2 points of damage, so we're up to 45.5. Level 10 makes us tireless, and God, I wish that was me, but it's not, so here we are. It lets you reduce your exhaustion on a short rest. I wish. And it also lets you give yourself some temp health. I'm fine, honestly, I'm fine. Damage-wise, nothing. Nada. Zilch. Level 11 gives us fourth manifestation. Fourth manifestation is interesting. We get one of 3 different options. We can gain blind sight, but of up to 15 feet, as well as automatically detecting illusions that are lower than our ranger spell saves DC, which is very low for us because we're not investing in wisdom. We get failing lungs, which lets us potentially knock creatures prone or give friendly creatures a speed boost as a magic action, and we get the ability to curse a creature with our bonus action so that our d4 damage turns into d6 damage with our curse markers. Pick your favorite here. The only thing I will say is that the graying eyes one, graying vision, at level 18 you get blind sight anyway. I think it's level 18. So just keep that in mind as there's a lot of levels ultimately, but just keep it in mind if you're going to go all the way to the end of the Ranger, which I don't recommend doing. Damage-wise, it does add another d4, which means that we go up to 48 damage. No points. I love a nice round amount of damage. At level 12, we're taking another feat, and this time we are taking Zhentarim Tactics. This lets us boost our dexterity to 19, and is the single best reason to take the Zhentarim Ruffian feat as an origin feat. That's because it allows us to gain expertise in a skill every long rest, which is amazing. But along with that, immediately after a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with a melee attack, you can make an opportunity attack against that creature. This fully weaponizes our reaction in a way which makes me completely fine using it in my numbers from now on, as well as meaning that we can get that reaction and add a d4 to it. Because if we've been hit by a creature, we have to have taken damage, which means we're going to be adding at least 1d4 to that attack as a result, which is fantastic. This is a fairly hefty damage boost from 48 to 69.5, which is nice and a half. That's a stupid joke. Level 13 gets us 4th level spells, and we can no longer have our concentration broken on Hunter's Mark. Thank goodness. It also sees our proficiency bonus going up to 5 from 4, so our damage goes up by 3 as a result. So we're up to 72.5. Level 14, we get Nature's Veil, which lets us turn invisible. It's handy, but not something we're going to be using because we want to be getting hit. Our damage does not change. Level 5 is one of the largest improvements to our damage I've done in any build, certainly in a monoclassed build. We get 5th Manifestation. This is the final subclass feature. You get the ability to, as a bonus action, grant yourself some cool stuff, which means that you will be doing first turn Hunter's Mark, second turn this. you double your speed, you gain a +2 bonus to your AC, you get to make 2 additional attacks if you take the attack action, so that's 4 attacks with your attack action, and all of your attacks are treated as though you have the maximum number of curse markers accumulated. This lasts until the start of your next turn, and you can use it again, but if you use it a second time, you gain 1 exhaustion level and immediately drop to 1 hit point if you have more than 1 hit point. You can get rid of that exhaustion level thanks to your tireless feature from level 10, and the health is obviously an issue, but you can only use it twice per long rest. However, 2 turns of this kind of damage might be all you need, frankly, because this bumps our damage up from 72.5 last time at level 14 to an average of 150, because we are adding so many dice and another 2 attacks, which is just phenomenal. Level 16, we get an ASI. I'm going to keep this nice and simple. We are going to boost our dexterity up to 20, so we are maxing that out, and we're going to boost our strength up to 17, so that we can get another point in that at level 19 with our epic boon. This means that our damage jumps up by 1 on each of our attacks, and because we're making 5 attacks, we go up to 155 damage. Level 17 gives us advantage on all attack rolls against creatures that are marked by Hunter's Mark, which is never a bad thing. It also gives us 5th level spells, the best one of the bunch being Swift Quiver, which lets you take a bonus action to make 2 attacks as a bonus action, and you can do that for a minute. It does require your concentration, which means you can't use Hunter's Mark. And because we're already using our bonus action for our 5th manifestation feature, it doesn't work especially well with that, but it is a fantastic one to fall back on if you don't want to use your 5th manifestation for whatever reason. I've not calced for that damage, but it's still going to be pretty good, so that is not a bad one to go for. This boosts our damage up to 172.5 because of a mix of the proficiency bonus going up by another 1, so our flat damage modifier is now 14. And also another d4 on each of our attacks, thanks to the final upgrade to our curse markers. Level 18 is Feral Senses, which is the blind sight thing I was talking about. Level 19, we get an epic boon, which lets us put our strength to 18. I've gone for combat prowess. Honestly, focus critical might be a better choice here, but I get bored of saying that might be the better choice here, so I'm changing it. This boosts our damage up by another 5 to 177.5. And finally, we get the so juicy Foe Slayer at level 20. So exciting. Oh, it's just such a good capstone feature. For the record, for my ranger player in the campaign I'm running, I've simply swapped this with the monk capstone, which gives you 4 points of dexterity and 4 points of wisdom, because that is worth going for. This amounts to an extra 2 damage per hit, which is quite frankly embarrassing. It means our damage is up to 187.5, which is still a very good amount of damage, but good lord, is it a depressing final feature on this character. But that is it. I apologise if the pace was faster than usual. I am barely clinging on to both my sanity and my consciousness. I am that tired. But I do appreciate you for putting up with me and this really strong ranger build. I think if I was going to play the temptation to play this class, probably multi-class it with maybe Gunslinger or Monster Hunter, would be very, very high. Gunslinger is a fantastic multi-class because at level 1 it gives you advantage on all of your initiative rolls. It gives you a fighting style immediately and more weapon masteries. At 2 levels in Gunslinger, you get a better crit range, so 90 to 20, and a bunch of bonus action maneuvers and stuff. Very, very cool stuff. Monster Hunter, you don't get quite as much at level 1, but at level 2 you do get studied response, which lets you attack with your reaction really consistently. Although I would say if you're going down the Zentarim route, which I have done here, that is not necessarily as wise of a multi-class. But that is me done for this build. I hope you all enjoyed it. Please like and subscribe if you do so. I'm kind of hurtling towards 1,500 subscribers, which makes me feel all warm and fuzzy. I should probably get the whole Discord thing sorted out, and I promise I will at some point. I'm just trying to figure out all of it. I hope you're all well, and you continue to do well, and you have a good week, and I will see you when I next see you. Goodbye.